Austin Dillion is now a back-to-back winner here at Richmond Raceway as he's won for the second consecutive year in a row the Cookout 400. And overall, the race tonight was a great race. Goodyear brought an excellent tire package here, taking some things that they learned from last year's races that they ran with some of the option tire, which was the All-Star race, Phoenix, even Richmond last year, they had the option tire available here. But it was a really phenomenal race overall here from Richmond Raceway tonight. And really the tire wear was great. And we saw a great race unfold in the Cookout 400 tonight. Saw multiple different lead changes. You know, the number that stuck out the most that I saw a lot of people posting from on X tonight was that there were 5 lead changes at one point in this race. And that was more than what 500 laps of the Food City 500 was back at Bristol Motor Speedway in April. So maybe this is something NASCAR can compound from, and Goodyear can compound from, and maybe bring a new option tire or a new type of tire to some of these short tracks. Martinsville got the Bass Pro Shops night race coming up at Bristol Motor Speedway next month, round of 16 cutoff race in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. But how about that? Austin Dillion, shake up in the NASCAR Cup Series playoff standings. We talked about it on the 5 to Go podcast this week. Doug asked everybody if there's going to be an upset wild card winner this weekend. I said no, because Richmond Raceway's normally in the past couple of years has produced non-wild card winners. You've seen like the likes of Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, but maybe Dan Elliott was onto something, because he was the one saying that, yes, we will see a wild card winner this weekend. And look, Austin Dillion got it done once again. And it was a little bit of a different vibe in the post-race press conference tonight. Richard Childress was in there as well. And they had to address some interesting questions that were thrown their way. Does Austin Dillion belong in the 3 car? And the win compared to this year to last year because of Austin Dillion and how he got it done and wrecking 2 drivers to get the win, and which ultimately actually he got his win stayed in the stat book, but his NASCAR playoff eligibility was stripped due to his actions last year here at Richmond Raceway in the Cookout 400. But he did it a lot cleaner this year. But Richard Childress, Austin Dillion said, look, they went out and celebrated the win last year, and they're going to do the same thing this year too. So they didn't really comment too much on last year's win, more focusing on this year's win. But still cool to see Austin Dillion getting into victory lane here. But now the question I think rises more is, what about Kyle Busch? It's been over 2 years since he's last picked up a NASCAR Cup Series win. That coming at Gateway back in 2023, June of 2023 to be precise. So Austin Dillon's picked up 2 wins since then, and Kyle Busch hasn't. So, Kyle Busch is on the outside looking in again, and he has been for the past couple of weeks. Going to have to throw it out on the line in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona next weekend. So that'll be something to look out for. It's going to be a big race, only 2 playoff spots up to grabs. Tyler Reddick's pretty much a lock, so it's really that last playoff spot of who's going to grab that last spot in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. But that'll be next week at Daytona. But more back on this race. By the way, William Byron clinched the NASCAR Cup Series regular season title today in the Cookout 400, and he felt pretty confident about going into the playoffs this year. Said there's been a couple of lulls in the past couple of seasons during the summer stretch of races, but he feels pretty confident heading into the playoffs now that he's not necessarily behind when it comes to the playoffs, but now that he's the front runner in the playoffs when he starts out, and he's going to get a boatload of extra playoff points going forward in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs that starts in 2 weeks at Darlington Raceway. But some other interesting notes from tonight's race here at Richmond Raceway. Chase Elliott had a string of just great finishes in the NASCAR Cup Series this season, but I believe this was his first DNF of the season, or his first last place finish of the season, finishing in 39th. A couple big wrecks, honestly. Felt like for a while Richmond turned into Talladega There's some big wrecks that we saw in stage 2, and Chase Elliott was one of those drivers that was caught up in it. But how about Team Penske, all finishing in the top 5, 3rd, 4th, and 5th? By the way, 5 to Go Facebook, 5 to Go Podcast Facebook page, 5 to Go Podcast YouTube page. You can catch all of those. I talked to Cindric after the race as well, but interviews all up on those pages. So stay tuned to the 5 to Go Facebook, YouTube page. Got some more clips coming out probably tomorrow morning. It's a late night here at Richmond Raceway, but got all the top 5 finishers on our social pages. So it was a lot of fun tonight here from Richmond Raceway. But Austin Dillion, your winner here from Richmond Raceway. It was funny in the post-race press conference. His son came in and started a comedy routine. It was actually quite funny, and he continued to try and do it after the press conference was over, which was quite amusing to see after the race. But we got Daytona coming up next weekend. Regular season finale, Coke Zero Sugar 400. 2 playoff spots up for grabs, or really just one. It's going to be a fun one from Daytona next week. I'll be at the track. Not sure how much I'll be at the track, but I'll definitely be there for the Cup race. Try to provide you guys as much updates as I can. But Austin Dillion, the winner here in the Cookout 400, back-to-back Cookout 400 winners here at Richmond Raceway.